Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. We are making changes here. Now, we're not going to do a daily news show like we've been doing and updating this dollar cost average thing, which nobody seems to really care about, to be absolutely frank with you. Nobody cares that I'm investing 8,000 or 9,000. I think it's 10,000 today. I don't know. This thing is not reflecting. It's 3 days behind. I don't know what's going on. It might be 2 days behind because yesterday. Anyways, I'm not sure what it's doing. But nobody seems to really care that I'm dollar cost averaging $1,000 a day. So maybe I should change my strategy to something more interesting. Would you want to know how to use let's say where is this thing? A ledger? Would you like to know how to set up a ledger? Maybe how to transfer funds? Maybe how to buy Bitcoin to start off with? Because it's such a confusing thing, right? Buying Bitcoin is not a straightforward thing to do. If a bunch of my friends have asked, a bunch of my girlfriends have been like, hey, listen, how do I even buy Bitcoin? After I've gone a long rampage about how great Bitcoin is, they're like, how do I even buy it? So yeah, maybe I should make a video about how to buy Bitcoin and like how-to videos instead of like basically regurgitating the news and talking about what I think is going to happen in the markets, which nobody seems to really care about. What are your thoughts? And of course, nobody's watching this, so you can't even tell me what you think, but I've already made up my mind. I'm going to start talking about educational videos, new videos coming up next week. And what I think I'll do is not do a video every day then. In that case, I'd do one video every second day, probably, but I'm not absolutely certain. Maybe it'll be a mix of something. But we are at $8,000. We're probably more at like 10,000 or something, or 11, but it's not reflecting here for whatever odd reason. Let me actually, yeah, okay, you know what? I'm not going to go to Ledger and open that up. But let's check out the market. Look at this. We've hit some resistance and we've come down a little bit. Obviously, I'm not shorting anymore. We might come down just a little bit here, a little bit of a reversal, maybe touch back to here before we boost off again, but I don't think it's over. But you know what's interesting now? What's super interesting now is we have the bull market support band. And this is becoming very interesting, and I'll tell you why. Because this is where things get actually interesting. If we break past the bull market support band, that's when we are actually in a bull market. All up until then, it's all just conjecture, right? Right up until here, it's just conjecture. Let's see. Now, I wonder, we're getting very close to it. We're basically touching it, right? We're at about, no, our wick was at 45,500. The bottom of a bull market is worth 46. Very, very close. Now, what is absolutely possible is if we don't have enough momentum, and by momentum, I mean volume, we may just go up, touch this bottom, and come right back down, test this line again, which I really think we're going to test this line. I don't think we're going down further. I don't think we are, but who knows? Entirely possible, because the bull market support band, when it's not a support band, it's a resistance band, right? And you need a lot of force to go through. And I don't know if we have the force right now. Like, you can see this. We went in, we took like a jab into it. Then we came back down and we took another jab up into it, right? So, like, it's important. Like, it's not like absolutely like something that we like. You need like some good flow, otherwise you're bouncing off of it. And let's see if we could, like, we got broke through right there, but there's times when we've been rejected from it, right? This goddamn thing doesn't always load, which is pretty annoying. Like, we got rejected there, we got rejected here, we got rejected here, got rejected there, and so like we are now below the, so like you can see this was a bit of a bull, right? We break up from the top, but we came almost right back down exactly where we started, just a little bit higher, right? And then we came back down later as well. And this is what could happen to us because we have a long way to go, right? We're not days away from an all-time high. We're months away. I wouldn't say years away, but I'd say months away from an all-time high. So it's entirely possible, absolutely entirely possible, that we touch and come back down, and then that whole thing, that song and dance, like, we're very familiar, right? Now, I imagine once we get out here, the significance of this line starts to fall apart, right? But what is true is if we move past, what I've noticed is 50-day move. Okay, so we got a couple moving averages here. So let's see if we can whip this out. Is this gonna show up for us? There we go. Okay, so I believe this to be the 50-day. I don't know why my charts don't show up sometimes. Why do my charts do this sometimes? Once we break past the 50, we're normally in like really bullish territory, right? But we're not getting the chart that I want right now. 50-day. Let's see. There we go. Is this it? There we go. So if we, and we're past the 50-day now, and that is an indicator that things could get pretty damn good, right? We have to stay above it though, because above the 50-day, things get pretty good, like as you can see over here, right? And this is the death cross that we had, and so we might be, we're approaching another a golden cross shortly, but we're not there yet, and it might happen out here. We might have to wait some time, but we'll see. This is, I don't really want to go too deep into this. Like, I don't think people value tech TA so much, at least from me. So I don't really want to go too deep into it. Let's just cover some of the news that I think is pretty interesting. Russia. I watched a video earlier today about the reserve currency that we have, like the US, and it's like basically petrodollar and how important that is for the US. Because what happens is when you sell oil, like a country like Saudi Arabia, when they sell oil and they make sure it's all denominated in US dollars, people that want to buy oil need to go find US dollars, right? And they need to sell something to get those US dollars. While if you're the US, you can just literally print that money out and go buy the US dollar, buy the oil that you want. And oil's a pretty big, energy's a big commodity. It's absolutely necessary. It's very interesting. Now, Russia and China have been moving away from the US dollar for obvious reasons. Now, crypto seems to be an angle for why they might be moving away from the US dollar. It seems to be a potential thorn in the side of the US, right? And this might be why they're kind of adopting it, why they're taxing it, and they've considered mining it, because then you could use that as a reserve currency, or not a reserve, but a currency to exchange, right? And the other issue, obviously, with everyone using the US dollar is you don't need to worry about, it's like a circular thing. You can buy T-bills on the backside. So if you use US dollars, you can buy US debt on the other side. And it's this complicated thing. It's a video that we should talk about in the future. In fact, the entire economic cycle and like why Libya was invaded and why Iraq was invaded, it's like super, super interesting. Like, it's really to keep North America stable, and some would call it unethical, but it's all very interesting. But let's see what Russia does. If they see this 13 billion revenue, I bet Russia's going to follow through with it because they could use the cash, right? Their economy could definitely use the cash. Like, they have a military, they want to expand and grow and whatnot. I totally see them pushing through, but we'll see. This is really funny. Bitfinex was hacked years ago, and $3.6 billion worth of Bitcoin was jacked. And these two people, Heather Morgan and this other guy named I don't remember what the other guy's name was, basically jacked him up. And Ilya Lichtenstein, and they recently got caught when like they were trying to get their Bitcoin into. I deeply regret to inform you that this is a rap video of the woman who was just arrested as part of an alleged husband-wife scheme that laundered some $3.6 billion of crypto. So they had a bunch of crypto and they needed to get that stuff out, and obviously figuring out how to do it was quite difficult. And so it seems like they're explaining how they did it. But let me put you through a little bit of cringe, 2 minutes, like 15 seconds of cringe. Just hear this. I don't know if you can hear us. Okay, well, that's interesting. Good for them for giving it a try. Right now, they're going to be put into jail for a long time. They're not coming out for a long time, that's for sure. But I found that a little funny. Wow, this is wild. Kept his private keys in his email cloud storage. That's whack, dude. That is dangerous stuff. But yeah, that happened, and I thought that was pretty funny. Looks like this is how the theft happened. So wow, look at this. They moved around. This is how they moved around most of their crypto. Wow. That's pretty wild. Anywho, this is the update for today. If you have any questions, comments, if you like my stuff, please, 0 fucks given. Please comment. like, or subscribe. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.